Alright, testing. Testing this. Yeah. Alright, it's pretty much 3 o'clock, so I guess I'll start. Title's pretty self-explanatory. This is a speedrun of Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments. I know no one asked for it, but here it is. The game's a lot of loading screens and cut scenes to mash through, so I'll explain what I'm doing and why I'm doing it then. Alright, let's get this timer ready. Sure. Alright, time starts when I press new game, and then time is done when I press confirm on my last morality choice. So, 3, 2, 1, start. Okay, so Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishment. It's a Sherlock Holmes game. You go around solving mysteries. Pretty self-explanatory. There are 6 cases. The fate of Black Peter is the first one in this game. The general idea for this game is that you get through it as fast as possible by essentially coming to all the wrong answers. If you don't solve a single of the puzzles or cases correctly, and we select what evidence we want just to get to the fastest ending. There are no glitches or anything. Also, I don't have a timer on here because I'm streaming straight from the Xbox One, but I have a timer going next to me, essentially, on my computer. So this first cutscene here, you're Watson and Sherlock's shooting stuff. Yeah, the funny thing about this game, I think, is that there's a lot of dialogue in the cutscenes between, you know, whoever. And you can skip most of it, but they decide that certain things you just can't skip, and it's not like it's the lines that are like, you need to know for the plot. There's one in the intro sequence to the last case that always, it's so stupid, and you can't skip it. But, so yeah, like this part, we just gotta watch him figure out it's Lestrade, who, if you've never seen anything Sherlock Holmes, is the head police guy. I don't know police terms. All right, so we're finally in control. We need to change into our suit so that we can go on the case. We pick the casual suit, wait for it to load, back out, and then go to the crime scene. I also toyed with, because nobody else speedruns this and I get to make the rules essentially, taking out the timing of loading screens. But as you can see here, I can open the casebook and I can open the deductions, which we'll see later what that means, during some of the loading screens. You can't do that. So even if I post like a really good time on this run, basically anyone who has a decent PC can beat me just by cutting down on the load times, which I don't really care. So this is the first case, the fate of Black Peter. We're gonna go talk to the wife of the victim. We don't actually talk to her, we just inspect her, which is weird. Essentially, this guy got harpooned to a wall in his cabin, but they don't know who did it. And
Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
the correct conclusion is, I think this woman is having an affair. Real quick, for every character you meet, you have to create a character profile about them by looking at significant things around them or on them. It's before you can back out of talking to them. So we have to do that a lot throughout the game. And I will usually be in first person because it's a lot easier to maneuver that way, although third person lets you hit and interact with objects a lot more easily if you're not like looking at them. So it's really a toss-up on where you need to be. The problem is switching between them. Actually, switching from first person to third person stops all of your momentum, so you don't want to do it too much. Luckily, going from third person to first person for some reason doesn't do that. So we can do that some, but usually I'm going to stay in first person just because it's easy to maneuver, and since I've memorized where everything is, it's not really a pain for me to, you know, hit every object. So right now I'm using the like suspicion clue, which is just like, it's like a sixth sense, I guess they want you to think that Sherlock Holmes has to see stuff. And that was his papers missing because he keeps it in a box there. Although we don't know that yet. We still have to talk to his wife about it. So that's not even all the clues that are in here, but that's all we need, because now we can talk to the wife and find out that the papers were missing from that shelf in the dust, and we have the idea that whoever killed him left the notebook that we just found, and we're going to talk to Lestrade about ambushing him when he comes back to get it. So yeah, I can't skip this dialogue. I don't know why they decided this is one of the ones that I needed. And then, okay, so we're going to do our first deduction here, and it is going to be notebook and break-in attempts, and that's going to create the task that we have the idea of making the ambush. We're going to talk to Lestrade about that. And basically he just says there, okay, well you gotta find where we're gonna ambush them. Well, we're just gonna peek in through this window back here. Alright, that is the first part of the first level. So yeah, so like I was saying, the actual thing that's supposed to happen is that the wife's having an affair with a sailor on one of Black Peter's ships because he's a ship captain, and the sailor she's having an affair with harpoons him. However, this kid that we're ambushing right now, who left the notebook, is just retrieving documents for like his dead father for some reason. It's been a while since I've played this game, to not speedrun it. And we're just essentially just gonna accuse him of doing it and send him to jail so that we can speedrun this faster. Yeah, not really a game for people that want to be just. Yeah, so another cutscene I can't skip through.
There's someone there. I'm gonna collar him. I'll be right behind you.
And we are going to get automatically teleported after this to Scotland Yard, which is like the police office. And that's where we're going to talk to this kid, John Nelligan, I believe is his name, and find out what he has to do. So, open deductions. I just like doing this because it makes it easier to hit things that are right if you just get rid of the things that don't attach. And we're at a loading screen right now, so we're not doing anything anyway. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't affect really the load time between going to places. So we're going to go in here and inspect the stuff John Nelligan had on him, except we're actually only going to look at this ring for right now. We got to read 3 parts of the inscription. And exit here. And Nelligan is actually the only one that starts out in the interrogation room, which I found weird. Everybody else starts in the jail cell next to it, and you have to get them out of there and say, I want to inspect this guy, but I guess because he's the only one we can talk to right now. Oh crap, I didn't get that. That's fine. I guess because he's the only one we talk to right now, he just automatically starts in there. And then we actually have to talk through all of his dialogue. Luckily, you can mash through pretty much all of it, except for these quick time events, which is when you catch someone in a lie and you have to pick the evidence that proves they're lying. Oops. Basically, he said he owned the ring, and we said, no, you didn't. We can tell from the engraving on it. And we need to go back to Baker Street. And then we said, okay, whose jacket is that? He says, no one, it's mine. And we said, no, it's probably your father's, so we assume that that's it. So we're swift actions and pin to wall. So what's happening here is that this is your deduction, your reasoning, and to finish a case, basically, you need to make enough deductions that connect to accuse someone. Right now I'm talking to Watson because we are going to want to do an experiment to see if a regular person could pin someone to a wall with a harpoon.
I wish to impale one with a harpoon.
Yeah, so we're going to impale pigs with harpoon. We're going to see that a little bit later. First, we need to go here. And it's 18. Oops. Well, that's alright. That's the last one.
Now
And then we actually have to go back and talk to Nelligan again. So this is the first level. It's the 3rd, maybe 4th longest. So right in the middle, about 20 minutes. Well, about 15 minutes. But it does require the most transition between places and the most backtracking between places, which is kind of annoying because you want to get as much as you can done in one place, obviously. But we have to talk to him now so that when we go to Woodman's Lee to get the harpoon to do the test for the animals, we can also look at his record book, his ship logs. So, we're going to Woodman's Lee. We're going to pick up the harpoon so that we can do the experiment with the pig carcasses. And we're going to go through the ship logs because we found out that John Ellikin's dad and Black Peter were partners. Ship partners. And thank you, the white crayon. And we are going to find out that one of the things in his ship logs was actually in Nelligan's notebook, and we're going to use that to accuse him of being the person who killed Black Peter. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, at least the way I'm explaining it, because I don't really remember everything of it. So this is one of the 2 skill sections of the game. I actually have to throw the harpoon into the pig carcass, and I have to make it accurately and with enough power. It's not going to happen on the first shot because the range that you can get it widens every time. So here, let me focus for a second. Yeah, so that was pretty good, but oh, second cycle, so that's really good. I usually don't get that, so that's actually one of the places I can save time in this game, and I'm actually pretty happy about that. And then we go back to Scotland Yard. The other thing about this is that for a cutscene to happen, you have to be in that place, even if you're accusing someone. So if you accuse someone, so we did that just to decide that it was probably a lucky throw, instead of that actually required any strength. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so to be in, you have to be in the place that the cutscene happens for the cutscene to happen, which sounds dumb, but it makes sense if you are me and know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we inspect the notebook, check the abbreviations, and see that CPR is Canadian Pacific Railway, and for some reason that means that the missing papers, missing tin box, stolen valuable papers, Nelligan's motive, with the lucky throw, but then, nope, we absolve Nelligan, because it's faster. The cutscene is. So, at the end of this cutscene, so we have to talk to Lestrade. Coming up on time on the first case. Oh, if this loading screen wasn't so long. And here we go. Alright. 14:23. That shaved 2 minutes and 37 seconds off my last time. Which is good because I messed up a bunch last time. So that's good. We're on a good pace as of right now. Alright, next case, Riddle on the Rails. Second longest one. And then actually the one after this is the longest one. Takes about half an hour. Kind of annoying. This one, Sherlock goes on a vacation with Watson, and on their way back, their train vanishes. And we have to figure out what happened. And it's not going to make sense if I try to explain what happens now as we get into the game, into the case more. I'll try to tell you and make sense of it.
He is a bee lover. I have no time. Send whoever it is away.
So Mycroft, which if you don't know anything about Sherlock Holmes, like I did, I guess, when I played this game through the first time, is
Mycroft.
Sherlock Holmes' brother.
Sherlock.
Mycroft works for the government, and Sherlock doesn't like that because he likes helping people as opposed to governments.
Sherlock, do please think about
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't really matter.
They are
But
planning something diabolical.
he doesn't really
Country
appear
needs you.
anywhere else in the game.
Mrs.
I guess
Hudson,
they talk about him
tea
once or
will
twice,
not
maybe.
be necessary.
But yeah, that's the only time he's actually in there. And then we just have to rush to this door. We get a cutscene we can't skip. Everybody settle in. D Rose 783 in the chat. What's up? It's funny that I'm like taking this real seriously, but like mostly just my friends are gonna see this. And I guess whoever has to look at it to make this an official world record. Yeah, that's this is gonna be a world record. Because nobody plays this. So whatever time I get here, whatever time I get here, yeah, it's a world record. So it's pretty good. Generally, the idea for my Twitch channel and the YouTube channel, this is going to go on to actually save it permanently. Yeah, this is going to be on the internet forever. The idea is speedrunning games that aren't good and nobody wanted.
It's too dark.
Speedrun? Because I can get world records in all of them, and I think that's hilarious. To just be able to say, oh, I have like 13 world records. Nobody cares about any of them. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I have my next game actually lined up after this. Should be pretty quick. So we'll see when that is coming out. No, I haven't told anybody about... D-Rose, I already gave you a shout out. I haven't told anybody about the next game, and I want to keep it a surprise for my friends, and I don't know if anybody else watches this. Them, to see who would tune in for it. Let me tell you, it's much worse than this game, but it's also going to be a lot faster than this game. So, make guesses off of that. So we just got a map of the surrounding area so that we can, you know, navigate. And we're gonna go down to where the train disappeared, because you have to do this part. I guess they figure, well, maybe we just didn't see it. So this is the imagination talent. Just helps you picture stuff. I think we use it here, and we have to use it in... No, you don't have to kick it. One other place in the game.
There are no railway.
I mean, there are other places in the game that you would use it normally, but for the sake of the speedrun.
There are...
So, alright, we're gonna go back here, back to the train station. Here's one of the parts where it's good to be in first person for maneuvering. We're gonna go back into the conductor's office. Yeah, whoop. And look at his desk. See, that would have been much harder. It doesn't seem like it's hard. It seems like it's just walking around, but let me tell you, this game doesn't have the best controls. And before we talk to this guy, because we need to talk to him anyway, we are going to run back here, open this door, and see that this is all burnt up. Alright. Chat, settle down. Wow, I'm such a streamlord. I talk to chat directly. We got a whole 3 people watching. This is sweet. Honestly, I've never used Twitch really before, so I don't know if me having it open on my computer counts as me watching it. So maybe it's just 2. Maybe it's just you 2 in chat and me. And we're just having a little powwow right now, but
these traces
I don't know. Maybe if you're the 3rd person here, say something in chat so we know. Alright. Whatever. So now we have to talk to this railway train master, whatever they're called. Got to do the character inspection. Oh, we're up to 4 viewers. Sweet. Okay. We're going to see that he has gray hair. Neat clothing, I believe. Oh no, this badge. Wedding ring. Oh, and spots of earth on his sleeve. And then we have to exhaust his dialogue again. So that we learn about the warehouse that we just looked at.
See you later.
And we know where the next train station we go to is. It's kind of nice in this one, actually. You don't have to backtrack until you have your final... I guess I'll take care of some connections right now. Until you have your final like accusation. Which makes it nice because then you don't have to... You don't have as many loading screens. At the second train station here, this is where the majority of the people we talk to are, including, I think this guy's name is literally just Angry Passenger. No, the Purple House joke, I wouldn't be done by the end of the stream. So, inexpensive clothing. He's got a ticket in his pocket here. Oops, missed that. He has a wedding ring, and then his other hand has rough skin. And then you just talk to this guy about, oh no, I was left on the train, but we also need to find out that some rich people on the train,
sir.
there's a bunch of Chileans. Real random. It's not really pertinent. Like, we could have solved the case without it, I think, but Sherlock decided that he needed to know that the Chileans were on there. To know that. What happened to the train? This is the train master. He's young, he has clean clothes. He's got the rules in his pocket, and he has ink on his hands. And then, again, exhaust everything here. Oh, also that piece of paper we picked up was a telegram for a guy that we will talk to in just a second. He's actually the guy we eventually end up accusing of being a swindler and driving the train into some mines and then subsequently blowing up those mines because he had a prototype on it, which he had a lot of insurance for. He's a rookie station master.
I was at the top of my class.
Listen here, young man. I am aware that you wish to protect
No, I can't tell it
yourself
quickly.
behind all these regulations,
That's the point.
but I represent the law. What did the telegram say?
I don't think he actually did it. I don't remember this case. I don't remember how it turns out, because it is, even just playing through this casually, it's a long case.
We ought to visit.
Okay, so, and he tells us the Chesterton station master sent him a telegram, but it was all weird. So eventually we're going to have to go find out why it was weird.
My name
This is Mr.
Sherlock
Robinson.
Holmes, and
He's
this
Australian
is-
inventor,
not
and
from
we
the
say he did
railway
it.
company. We are.
We have to see that he has an Australian hat, ornate clothing, oh, expensive clothing, excuse me, crocodile skin shoes, and a heavy gold ring. We talk about that to
You must
him.
be
Talk
Mr.
about
Robinson. Is that
him
correct?
being Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Special wagon.
You mentioned a
We
director's
talking about the
board.
Barcazes
Which
company,
company do they
which
own?
was that group of Chileans.
What do you know about the Barcazes company?
Or about Kazas, excuse me. We talk about
According to
insurance
this
for the
document,
prototype,
You have insurance for your prototype. Near the telegraph station.
and he's
I
like,
must have
"Ah, you
lost
dropped
it
my
when I tried
telegraph.
to
That was
send
the
a
telegraph we
message,
picked up."
which I was prevented from doing.
He's real angry at the station master. Talked to him about
I've
his
had
grip
other
sack
things
being
to think
gone,
about.
because we're actually
I
going
lost
to
my prototype. And this
pick.
idiot
What's an
station
Australian
master
hat?
just stands
I
here
don't
doing
know.
nothing to help.
Yeah, he is real angry. I don't know what an Australian hat
This
is.
revolutionary machine of yours.
Then again, I'm not
was it
from
very
Australia,
valuable?
so maybe that's
This
something
Robinson
everybody
is
knows
quite
in
the
Australia. Or maybe just outside of the US. Spoilers, I'm from the US, if anybody who's not my friend is watching this. All right, and here's his grip sack. We see that it's his, and then we break into it. So every mini game like this has a skip timer. So if you take too long, you can just opt to skip, but it's quicker most of the time to not. And right now we're just lining up these black lines so that they connect on both ends, and you just gotta wait a second and then it'll unlock. Now all his papers are in here. There are his insurance documents.
Look, Watson.
So we have to see that it's an exclusive and it's him, exclusive sale and it's him, exclusive sale and it's him, and exclusive sale and it's him. Luckily,
Well, it is
they're
very clear
all
that
in
this mis-
the same place every single time. So, then we go to Chesterfield. Alright. Grip sack? Yeah, it's just like a bag, I guess. An they're only gonna sell it to them. An exclusive sale means they're only gonna sell it to them. Alright, you're going ham, dude. Just take a chill pill. Open this. It's annoying that you have to look at the door handles to open them. And this station manager, or station master, excuse me, is
How could you excuse me, sir?
just drunk
Wake
all
up.
the time.
Ah, his breath.
He must have swallowed half a
Swallowed
distillery.
Half a distillery. Wake up, please, sir.
You can know the lines
What?
in these games,
The
the lines that you don't
1872
skip.
train has arrived.
Luckily, they all pretty much have no bearing on the game, so you end up learning a bunch of really random words for the game. And then we just got to see his fishing line in his pocket, which doesn't come into play at all. But hey, we better know that.
No, nobody, it seems to me. Although I did not leave my office, so...
He's a fake fan.
What?
We
He's a
ask him what's up with
fastidious
that
little twerp, that Bertram. I remember everything quite clearly.
telegram he sent.
It was late.
He's trying to
and
say
I was
that
tired, but
he was
I
just
did
tired.
my work.
And we're like,
So what?
no,
There's
you were
no need to be so
clearly
petty.
drunk, dude. Binge drinking. First one. So those appear in random order every time. The
It will
things
not.
they give you a choice of using as evidence. And if you miss it, it actually starts...
Lock.
Oops, wrong one. Oop, no. Rats. Alright, that was the wrong... A little bit of a mistake there.
Interesting.
Alright, and then we see that there's a bunch of rail parts here, which we get the idea
Watson.
after being
A little
like
patience,
kind of a
Watson.
dick
You will
to
understand my
Watson.
point quite
We're
soon.
just like playing around
So,
with him like,
Are you quite
Watson, do you
certain
believe in
that you
magic?
saw the train
didn't
at
you
Euston
see that
Station?
train? And Watson's just like, what are you talking about, dude? But we come up with the idea to make a fake train with the spare parts and no trace of a train means we do the fake train experiment. So we turn around in here. We gotta build it. So we put this wood plank here, take this here, put it there, take the hand crank there, one of the wheels at the bottom. You gotta spin it around. Put the brake on in the center, and then the wheel right there, and we're done. White crayon.
So,
Jeez. And then we can use our imagination again, but it's not required. So it just kind of messes up the view of the screen. We just need to get a few extra things. I don't know why we didn't just put this on in the first place. We need those 4 things. Put it on here. The headlamp. The train whistle. Oh, but what will power it? Well, we're going to use a fire extinguisher. So pump the fire extinguisher, blow the train whistle, and then pump the cart to make the light come on. So, basically the idea is, theoretically, they could have just seen something
Watson.
like this
So
instead of
such
the
a thing
actual
is
train.
possible.
Um,
If someone went to all the trouble.
And there you go. Okay. Now we need to go back to Sherlock's archives, which, thank goodness, he doesn't leave the house without. And we need to look at a
Now we have
map
two
of the
maps.
area.
we must
We need to
combine
line
them.
up the map we got from the train station with our map. We find that there's actually a railway switch, which we will be going to. stayed in the train. It was an accident. I think that's the right one. Chesterfield telegram, and that he's untrustworthy. Missed Chesterfield. Prototype has insurance and special wagon. Robinson's motive. Fake train and spare parts of a handcar. Vanished earlier, and that's all we got for right now. And then we continue through there. We have to inspect the switch to see that it's pretty easy to derail the train. And, oh look, there are mines right here. Now we have to imagine, oh excuse me, I forgot we had to imagine this as well. Oh, and we have to do it actually once again. So I think you used the imagination 4 times maybe? What time am I at right now? I will tell you at this loading screen. I'm at 31 minutes, 46 seconds. Just fairly good for right now. I'm pretty happy with that. My previous one, so just to get some times on the board so I know generally how I was doing, I did a run where I just didn't care about what was happening in it. And that ended at 40 minutes and, oops,
But to be truthful,
40 minutes and 3 seconds. So, hopefully. Get that. We just have to stand here and look at it. And there are screws on the ground. And here we go. Let's find this paper pack. Dude, what are you doing, White Crayon? And then, sawdust. Except... then we shoot it, and it's dynamite. Sit there and stare at it. And then we go to this station. I can't remember what it's called, because on the map, it's just called Station. I think it might be Evesham, something like that. Mines were blasted, mines are collapsed. That means it was a concealment. And stolen tracks and the railway into the mine. So the train's inside the mine. That's what we've discovered, and that's all we need for now. Okay. And then we see this guy. He's a Chilean, I think. We literally don't care about him.
A funny cat. And he is not an Englishman.
Wow, xenophobic.
Newspaper.
So we look at these horse racing things, and then, oh man, the station master here likes to bet on ponies.
Holmes, look.
There's a flooded area, so we decided that the train went into the mines because it's easier and faster. You can also decide that it goes into that flooded area, but it takes a little longer. I don't remember which one is
This post bag.
correct. And basically this is the station master's the station master's stuff, and we're going through it, seeing that I think his wife divorced him because he was spending all their money, and we're eventually going to see that he received money to say that, yep, the train passed here, but it didn't actually. So we are going to get a profile on this guy. Melancholy. He doesn't have a watch here. There's a missing button. And a ring mark, because his wife divorced him. And we immediately just say, you have a gambling problem, don't you? He's like, I haven't even talked to you before. And we use horse racing as evidence.
Goodbye, sir. It is obvious that we can...
And then we have to travel back to... Oops. Oh, I'm just not going to do that. Oh man, sometimes this one acts weird, and you have to talk to him all the way, and sometimes you don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
Goodbye, sir.
All right, here we go. So Doncaster telegram, and that he received money means that it missed Doncaster, and he is a swindler. And we we choose the political game. So yeah, it seems like we'll still end up ahead. I think I might have actually had a worse. This segment might have been worse than last time. Hey chat, how's my mic? Too loud? Not loud enough? Is the Sprite drinking annoying you? It's good. Alright, sounds good. Drink more Sprite. That's what I'm hearing. And let's see.
You are one of the suspects in our case of the vanished train, which
Can't
by
skip
the
through
way,
this one.
involves
It's a
the
long one.
death of all its
Understand.
passengers.
What?
I can assure you that it is
What?
not.
Okay, here we go. Ooh, so we saved 8 seconds on that one. Although I guess I messed up that Doncaster station master, so I could have saved time there, and I accidentally hit that lock, which was kind of annoying. Bloodbaths. This is by far the longest one, so buckle up. Last time it took me 34 minutes. Hopefully we'll go a little bit faster then. The Sprite is actually the worst part of the stream. Well, here we go. How many are there? 6 cases. The last one is real fast. It's like 7 minutes. What do you mean how many sprites are there? Just one Sprite. I don't know why you're asking. So we come in, and Sherlock is like dying. And we find out that he poisoned himself. And we have this little mini game where we try to save him. But we can't, because it's a timed mini game, we can't complete it faster than the split comes up. So we just, I don't know. There's no point in doing anything. So I just wait here until the skip comes up. There we go.
But you're dying, Holmes. Your pulse rate is dropping. We need
Yeah,
to
so
get you to the
we would have
hospital
taken his
immediately.
temperature and
The
seen that his like
antidote.
eyes were glazing over, and taken his pulse,
to me.
which would have been really low. Yeah, I already told you, just one Sprite, man.
Now, please.
Yeah.
And so hopefully,
Don't tell me that you did this to yourself.
but he did do it to
Hemlock
himself.
and Datura. I was compelled to.
Oh, excuse me, I didn't save 8
Holmes
seconds. I
is
saved
unable to see
7.2 on the
anyone.
previous
He is
segment.
unwell.
A good day,
Can you go get
Inspector.
more Sprites?
Ah,
Let me think
glad
about
to
it.
find you here.
I don't know if
I need
there's
your help. This is
a
strange
cutscene
one.
that's long enough for me to
We've
go
brought
get
in
another
2 young
Sprite.
bankers from the
There's
city,
probably some that are
sons of lords,
close,
members of
if
the
I'm
chamber,
honest.
and so on and so forth.
Um,
They were found stranded in a
I'm
rowboat
not gonna
drifting on
risk
the
it.
Thames.
Well, man, I don't know. You
Romantic
telling me not to makes
escapade
me
with
want
an
to.
unhappy
Honestly,
ending,
right
Miss
now would be a
Barr.
good time. This is a really long cutscene.
Yes, they were
That I can't
both
skip.
in the bath, but what?
You are lacking
Okay, I guess I can skip
imagination,
that part, so
Inspector.
it would have been bad.
Well, no, I'm not. Anyway, there was a banner flapping about in the boat with the RMS Oceanic.
Refreshing
printed
Sprite.
And signed by the Merry Men.
This is an
Yes,
ad for Sprite, by the way.
These 2
I'm
young
sponsored.
banker chaps are sons of the owners of the White Star Line, the company that built it. There are rumours of corruption. I'll keep it then. Here's another
Get
one
that
that's a bit
Sierra
more
Mist crap
complex,
outta here.
maybe to your liking.
I'm a
It's a
Sprite guy
murder,
through and through.
but we're unable to find any weapon. We haven't touched anything. It's at the Roman Baths in Strand Lane.
A murder. A vanishing
So basically the idea
Roman
here
bath.
is that there are
That's for us.
Roman
What's some
steam
fetch
baths. Don't know if that's a real thing, but it is for the purposes of this game. And 4 people were locked in there, and 1 of them died. So we got to decide who killed him, and there's no weapon that they can find, so we have to figure out how they killed him. And we'll see what's up here in just a second. Thank you to my friends that came and watched this. You really didn't have to do that. It's probably boring as crap for you. But hey, I appreciate it.
What a beautiful place.
With a dreadful murder. The body of Sir Rodney Bentcliffe is still in the steam room. It has not been touched, per your usual instructions, Mr. Holmes.
So my computer says I have 3 people
Yes.
watching, but my
The manager of the bar,
Twitch app on my Xbox says I have 2. And I don't really know who to believe. I think 2 is right. Oh, okay, it just...
I think the plump one.
This is
Garrow.
Handy Mandy.
He doesn't seem right in the head.
Well, we
Handy
shall see.
Manny? It's Handy Mandy.
You found no murder weapon.
And now there's a
And that's why I called you.
record of that on the internet of me knowing that it's Handy
And they
Mandy,
remained
so that's
so
good.
until we got here.
That's what I
We
like to
even
hear.
had to pick the lock to enter.
I see.
So we finished talking to Lestrade here. Go back into first person, get that third person crap out of here. And we have to inspect the body. It's a TV show, Handy Mandy. No, it's Handy Mandy, dude. Oh my gosh, it's
Lord,
Manny?
Holmes.
Let us forget.
Oh, it is Manny. Andy. Okay, so he has a wound there. He has blood coming down. We check his wrist. He's been dead for half an hour. He has a ring mark, which I missed, and the dirt on his finger. That's all we can get here.
I think we have found all that we can here.
Okay.
Taking into consideration
That's
the abysmal
a
lighting.
risky joke.
Constable, we have
Um,
finished with the body.
We don't have many leads here.
No, we don't.
All right, Mr.
And
Holmes.
Sherlock is convinced that someone did this
Probably
to
the
get
latter.
him
You are
to investigate this
ridiculous, do you know
case
that?
because it's so interesting to him. He's paranoid. And so we look at his blood. There's clearly a key right there, but we don't need any of that. We just... did I get that? You get the blood? Yeah, okay. We just need to know that there's blood there, and we actually don't even look over there yet because there's some silver in the brazier. That like fire pit in the middle. And we need to get it out. We don't know that yet, but I do. And we need some stuff from this room, including the tongs to get the silver out of a fire pit. So get that stuff. We actually need to do this before we talk to Lestrade saying, hey, it's okay to move the witnesses. Twitch, am I dropping frames a lot or no? Has it been pretty smooth? Or chat? Did I say Twitch or did I say chat? You're good. Alright, sweet. Yeah, my biggest fear for this run is that I do like pretty decently. Ooh, first grab. That's actually
I should
kind of hard.
analyze this
Um,
method.
That I do pretty well, and then for some reason Twitch doesn't capture it all. So then I have to I have to do it again with like a capture card or something like that. That'd be really annoying.
Mr. O,
And we let him take the witnesses away. And we go to Scotland Yard. So the two weapons we could say that they used are either a silver molded weapon, which we're going to do in this speedrun, or an ice weapon. Ice weapon is just a little bit longer. I think ice weapon might be right. I don't know. I can't remember which one's right. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've done this game casually. Go in here. Alright, take the map first, because if I don't take the map, I will forget to. And then look at this notebook. Alright, here's another. You have to essentially get the writing off by like rubbing this pencil against it and then wiping it off with a like, not napkin, handkerchief, that's the word. Let me tell you, that's impossible. Like, it's impossible to get it to a point where
And then...
Alright, okay. Can we get a no-skip run of this? Oh, we did! Okay, that's actually a big time saver. Usually I have to play around with that a lot. So, I guess I shut myself up.
Wonderful.
I could retrieve only the final words. The rest of it is lost. Perhaps the autopsy will assist us in that matter.
Alright, and we just need to read this note written from Pitkin. And then we're off to interview the suspect.
Good day.
You even have the 2 T's at the end there. Crayon, that was good. You know me so well.
Are the manager of the bar.
So this is Gregory Pitkin.
Living archaeology can be a profitable business.
I think maybe he actually did do it in the real game.
With Sir Rodney Bent?
But we don't accuse him because it takes long. He has an arrogant look. The shape of his mouth says he's disdain. We see that he has a gold chain, so that means he's a man of wealth, and this ring means he has aristocratic roots.
Please tell me what happened this morning.
Everything we can.
What did you
see? We need to.
Rather slowly, I would say.
And we say, hey, what about that letter you
Sir
wrote?
Gregory, could you please explain this letter? You expressed the wish to call off the research work at the baths.
It was all about Blinkhorn. It was
Blinkhorn's the archaeologist. Whoa, archaeologist. We'll meet him next.
And finding nothing of any value.
That's him right there. So this is the guy we accuse of doing it. I can't. It's either him or Pitkin. I don't remember who actually did it. I think we were wrong actually. It's either that it wasn't Silver or that it wasn't him, but I think we get half of it right. And we just talked to him about him and Sir Rodney, and it turns out that when Sir Rodney came,
how well
he actually basically overshadowed
Sir Rodney's arrival.
Rather well.
Blinkhorn here, and we're going to use that to say, hey, you were probably just jealous of him, and that's why you killed him, because he made this great discovery. And we talked to Garrows here. He is just an enthusiast for archaeology, and he's also insane.
A good day to you.
If we had looked at his stuff any closer, we would have seen he's taking like some drug to prevent him from having delusions.
Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
And he's the one that, yeah, Tristram Garrow. He is the one that Lestrade thinks did it, but he's the one that I know for a fact he didn't do it. So he has bags under his eyes. He has a Homestead hand here, and dirty clothes. And now we just.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Garrow.
Oh yeah, he says like weird stuff, like it should be buried and stuff like that, just like randomly. Because he's insane. I don't know why he's in.
Garrow appears to be.
Okay. And we do Sir Rodney's autopsy real quick. It's not really an autopsy. We just look at his body, essentially. And then a little bit of blood there. And look at all his bruises. And then we go to Baker Street. Make some deductions. Sir Rodney's lie and stolen notes means he had a mortal secret. And that means we should figure out where he was last. I'm no Sherlock Holmes, so I'm not going to claim to understand his thinking. Go over here. We analyze the dirt that was under Sir Rodney's fingernail. And we see that there's pyrite, selenite, and white clay. I'm going to say, what's on the map that's the only place that has that? Well, it's the only place that has white clay. So, and then we analyze the blood.
Let us analyze.
And we put peroxide in it just to find out that there's unusual amounts of water in the blood. And so you can either use that as evidence for the ice weapon, or you can just say, well, we were in a steam room with a bunch of moisture, so that just explains it, which we do. And so you'd think that you could just not
if it is so,
not do that, but it's vital to the run that you do that, else you won't be able to finish the mission. Yes, white clay on. Change your name to that.
My analysis table.
Okay, and then we identify based on the map he had.
We must combine them properly.
Where he was. He was down here. I'll tell you that.
Watson,
right there, in fact. And then we travel there. Oh, I really thought you did change your name, actually. It's like looking at it, like, is there an L there? Very liquid blood. Just steam moisture. And then broken glasses, possible silver weapon. And we're gonna say that is Blankhorn's humiliation. That's it. Go in here. We get these little metal cubes. They turn out to be the mold for the weapon. And then we go through here, and we get this cutscene of the Cyclops that has no pertinence to the game, even if you're playing it casually. Like, even if you're doing it the way you're supposed to. How am I doing time-wise? I'm at 53 minutes right now, which is not bad. Still on world record pace, am I right? Because anything I do here is a world record. Go down here, turn on your concentrate, and use this wall, talk to this wall. And then we just have to scrape off all the dirt with this trowel. Do all of it, but try to get it as... Oh, crap. Ah! It's actually harder to control than you'd think. We want to finish near the top here, because the purpose of scraping off all this clay, or this dirt, is to, so he will say... Oh no.
I can see.
Yeah, and then we see that it's the Frigidarium, so that didn't go great. But then we go back to the Strand Lane Baths. And if we had wanted to do the ice knife... Great sprite right there. If you had wanted to do the ice knife, then no. I mean no. Then we would have had to look at the champagne outside the steam room, and in a moment when we go down this secret passage here, spoilers, we will have to look at a bucket and take it, and then do another experiment. Although we have to do another experiment for silver, it's also quicker to do the silver one.
Perhaps I could find
right now we're looking at these symbols underneath these things. You only need to do, because the only ones that have symbols on them are the helmet, the one-eyed face. I don't know if that's supposed to be like because you saw the Cyclops before, or like, what's up with that? And then a trident on the other side here. Mike Cran, why did you just say no?
Now I have...
No what? And then, oops. And then we rotate these, because it's going to point at that bust. It's very finicky, this thing. I'd not be surprised if I have to skip it. Oh, I didn't. It's not worth explaining. Okay. And then it wants you to use your concentration to look at this bust, but you can also just look at it regularly and rotate it. So there's really no point. And look, we uncovered that secret passage. Alright. Okay, and then we grab the lantern here. Everything else there, like that thing on the bottom, is a picture of him in Egypt and stuff. There's also a fresco on the side, which gives us the route to a secret passage we need to take later. Luckily, it just never changes, and I just have it memorized. So, NBD. We don't need to look at it. And then the bucket we would have wanted if we wanted the ice knife was there too. Chad, is my mic volume still good? I feel like I knocked my mic.
The pillar collapsed.
It hasn't changed. Okay, well there you go. And now we see these shadows, I guess unshadows. And that just tells us go back to the dig site. But first we need to stop by Baker Street. Do a little experimenting. So we got 13 minutes left before I pass what I needed, what I had last time. I think we can do it easily in 15 minutes. 13 minutes, excuse me. And then we look at this cube. Again, this is one of the ones where the skip button just comes up way faster than you could possibly put this thing together, even though they're all in the same place every time. So there's just no point in doing that. We just wait. I can spin it and stuff.
I will count
select pieces. But yeah, there's really no point in doing it. I think there's another one of these that comes up immediately once I go back to the dig site, that
it is a mole.
The skip is there just from the first second, so I just mash the skip button
half a glass.
Once we're there. And we are testing the mold by putting some casting stuff, I don't know, in there and seeing if it makes a mold, which of course it does. Let me look. Oh, here's a knife. Kind of matches the strange rune.
Analysis table. It is useful for...
And now we take the mold form and the strange wound, and we say a molded weapon, maybe a silver one. So then we test it. We put the silver in here, turn on the Bunsen burner. He says this may take a while, and then it melts in about 10 seconds. Then we pour it in, and we leave the Bunsen burner on while we wait for it to cool. And it's still going. That's not lab safety, kids.
Excellent.
And once we're done with that, we go back to St. Albans. The nice thing about this too, is if I click the wrong place I want to travel to, you can always change it en route. Silver weapon. Method. Silver weapon. Silver knife. Okay, so now we're in the last stretch of this level. We have to make a gastrophetes, which is essentially like a crossbow with a rope to it. Think like what Batman uses to climb up buildings when Batman was Adam West, and they just turned the camera sideways. That kind of thing, but in a crossbow. And that's how we're going to get to the secret place, where we'll discover the golden knife of Mithras, which is like some Greek god or something, Roman god. Robin. Yeah, like Batman and Robin. So I have to see here. Oh, there's a hidden place, and there's rings to get across. And then we're going to say, because we know that Sir Rodney discovered that, probably Blinkhorn killed him because he was jealous and wanted credit. That was actually a really quick gastrophetes making. So that's good. I usually mess it up. The bow is pretty finicky about what angle you have it at to attach it. Alright, so this is the second skill portion. I said when we had the... Ooh, that's good. First try. When we did the pig harpoon thing. So we'll see if I can get this before I have to skip it. I think that missed. Yeah. A little low. The annoying part is you don't know. No, that missed. Ah, that's annoying. I'll probably be able to skip it after this, though. Yep. And then you have to cross this bridge. But pretty sure Adam West played Robin. No, didn't he play Batman? I don't know. Post another Wikipedia link for me. Okay, so we got 9 minutes. And the reason we wanted to get all those clues done before we came here, so this is the secret passageway where I've just memorized the order that I have to go in, is because there's a puzzle that traps you in here, so you can't travel, unless you are accusing someone. So then in the middle of the puzzle, once we have all the clues, because we get halfway through the puzzle, we just leave, which is pretty nice. All right, let's hope my memory's up to stuff, or else. Oh, and we have this little rock puzzle, if you can call it that. It's just getting all the weights right, but it's just the ones that are next to each other go with each other, and then the red ones alone. So, pretty easy. Yeah, so that fresco had all these symbols of the pathways we're going through, but then, ooh, that was weird. Sometimes if you hit a loading screen, it like throws you off. Like that, like it keeps doing. So you're supposed to memorize the order of them, and then like whichever one is highest is the one you should take. But just memorizing it is easier. Really love the music right now. Pretty good. Then you see that the knife's here, and you say, okay, to get to that. So this is the puzzle that I was talking about. So we have to, Watson and Sherlock have to activate levers and hold them to allow each other to move through and get to the knife. But once I get to the knife, then there's more puzzle, because then like the door locks and you have to do more of the puzzle, but it's harder. It's pretty annoying casually even, but yeah, this way if we like come to a deduction before we have to do the rest, we don't have to do it. So a pretty big skill. Batman was and Cortez. Alright, I'm just gonna say sure, I believe you, and Adam West was Robin. Like, I think you're wrong, but like, It's fine. I'm not like worried about it. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, that was a little sloppy, but we got there. All right. Who's that? French steward.
Excellent. Now,
What are you talking about? Okay, golden notes, or golden knife, stolen notes, valuable secret, motive is vengeance, comes to that, and absolve him. It's pretty much always faster to absolve people, because if you don't, they whine at you, and you don't want to deal with that. Hull and notes. You mean Hull and Oates? What are you talking about, dude?
Mr. Holmes, what happened?
this. I also like to dig, you see, Mr. Blinkhorn. One never knows what
I think when they wrote this, they thought it was some like
occasionally remarkable rarities.
cool like comeback, but like
Are you
really
suggesting-
saying
I am not
also
suggesting
like dig
anything.
is not that cool.
No. You found the knife. You are an intelligent man.
All right, here we go. Ooh, so we picked up 1 minute and 14 seconds off of that case. That's good. Oscar-worthy comeback. You're right. Is there like a video game equivalent to the Oscars? There should be. All right, Abbey Grange affair. So this is one of 2 missions, or cases I should say, where basically Lestrade has already made up his mind, but Sherlock comes in and is like, well, I'll be the judge of that. But the fastest way is just to agree with Lestrade both times.
I'll wait for you in the sitting room.
So basically the general idea of this case is that
I've just received a note from
this guy
Inspector
died,
Lestrade.
and Lestrade
A
thinks it's
letter
the
from
Randall
the
gang
suburbs.
because the house
He
is
is in need
ransacked.
of my presence.
It turns out that it was
Whenever
actually,
he is
this
asked
gets
for my
real dark,
assistance, it
that
has
he
always
was just
turned
like
out to be
abusive to his
entirely
wife,
justified.
and then she killed him, and then made it look like they were robbed, because the gang that they blame is actually very well known in the neighborhood. So, yeah, it's also pretty quick, and the only time we get to use Toby, which, for those who don't know him, is Sherlock Holmes's dog.
So you
He's
believe the
a
accused is
basset hound,
dead?
and
I should
his
say so.
animations in this
Lestrade
game
would
are
have sent for me
not
if
good.
he
Let
was.
me
His
tell
writing
you.
shows
Looks like
considerable
he's
agitation,
looks
and
like
his
he's still a
not
model
emotional
of the
man.
dog they were going to use.
Well,
And I don't mean to
it is all
disrespect
thanks
the
to
people who made this
Lestrade.
game.
He wrote
I
his
mean,
letter
it's still
at
making a
3:30
whole
in the
video
morning.
game, and
Imagine the chain of
it's a
events
lot.
before
It's
that.
really well put
The
together,
local
I think,
police had to be called in.
and worth
Much
a
time has
playthrough
been wasted.
casually.
Let
I
us
don't know
find
that
a
it's
cab
worth.
and go to Abbey Grange immediately.
Yeah, Toby hype. You should
I
be
wish
Toby
you
hype.
hope of an interesting
Um,
morning.
I don't know that it's worth, the 75 hours I've put into it, but hey, I've put 75 hours into it, so it better be. Yeah, so this case takes less than 10 minutes, and we have Kew Gardens, which takes about 15 again, and then we have a Half Moon Walk, which takes about 7. So we are coming up on time, about half hour. Which is good. That'll be right in between. That's like right at my goal time, right in between an hour and 40 and an hour 45. So we're on target. We're on target. My fear was halfway through this running out of things to say and just like having like long pauses of silence and then me like interjecting every now and then. But I guess I can make up crap to talk about for long enough. So we have to talk to Lady Brackenstall before we
Ladies, allow me to introduce myself. My
before
name
we
is Sherlock
examine the body.
Holmes.
As you can see, she's being beaten up.
Investigation.
And they blame that on the robbers. But it's actually her. And it's kind of annoying that a lot of times I get stuff that's off screen, I know. In these, but it's faster, so.
Can you just...
And we have to talk to her about a couple things. About what happened last night and if something's missing. Everything else we don't need to. We also need to look at this paper on the table here. Yeah, basically, white crayon. That's basically exactly what I imagined would happen. Alright, and we have to just stare at the mantelpiece for like a while. Yep, there we go. And see that this bell rope is cut. And now we can look at the dead body.
So what?
Well,
And the fireplace has blood on it. His face has a hole in it, and the poker's right there. He was using a walking stick, and he was barefoot. Okay, now we look at the wine. There's a wine bottle, there's a decanter. There's 3 glasses, one with beeswing in it, which is like, as I understand, as the not wine drinker exists.
I will take it.
Is deciding whether 3 people drank wine, one that preferred having beeswing in it, which doesn't really make sense, or if it was 2 people and 1 person put their beeswing in the glass. All right, we're going back to Baker Street just to get Toby. We got some Toby hype. I feel so stupid saying that. I'm the only one who knows about Toby. Yeah, and pretty much we use Toby and the case is over. It's a really short one. Not quite as short as a Half Moon Walk, I don't think. Hey, Toby. Oh, there's also a telescope in this room that I'll show you real fast. That one. But throughout the entire game, the only thing you can do with it is look at your neighbor. And it's just like this kind of fat woman that just stands at her window and you just kind of stare at her with the telescope. I played the game, like I've completed this game, which means you look at every piece of evidence and come to every conclusion, because I'm a masochist. And and it's just, yeah, that is Toby. We got some Toby hype and we're about to be Toby. The next portion of this game, we are Toby. But yeah, you never use the telescope for anything useful. It just stares at that woman. What the heck is that? Robots or something? Alright, Toby, here we go. It's much slower than humans. Basically what you're supposed to do is follow this scent trail. But it's quicker to go a different way, and it doesn't do anything bad to not follow the trail, so. And here we go. So we went to the shed. Now you're supposed to go to the well. And then the wall here. And basically that just tells Sherlock the route the criminals took. and where to look for
The
stuff.
criminals left the house through the French window.
They'll
They
explain
walked
it.
to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route.
So, in here, found a hook that we need. Come back to here. Inspect the well. There's something glittering down there. Take off the bucket, put on the hook, lower the hook down. Oh, and that's the end of Toby. We don't see Toby for the rest of the game. So, rip to Toby hype. And we look in here, we look at the fork, which is the silverware that she said was missing. And oh look, it has an ornate thing on it. Now we put together everything. Silverware was found. Was identified. Robberies. Motive. Criminals identified. Randall gang well known. We blame. Or it's not that the Randall gang was blamed. It's that they actually did it. Dead body. Bent poker. Poker blow is what killed him. 2 glasses and a glass with beeswing. We're actually going to say it's 3 people, and that gives us. And then we gave glory to Lestrade. Yeah, no, sad robot. Am I right? And then we just have this cutscene. In this case, is over. All right, here we go. All right. Ooh, we saved 1 second on that case. So. Pretty sick, if you ask me. Oh, sorry, not even 1 second. 0.2 seconds. So, pretty consistent. No more Sprite, for those that care. No more Sprite. We're out of Sprite. So, alright, Kew Gardens. Basically, we go there to inspect that a bunch of plants went missing, and then someone's like, oh yeah, and by the way, someone died here a couple days ago, and we're like, well, maybe we'll check that out. So we do. And so we go to Kew Gardens, and Sherlock only takes the case because he has a bunch of bees, and he wants to give them weird pollen from the flowers there. So that's weird. Let's see. Last time this took me 20 minutes. This case. I think I should be able to do it in a little bit less time than that. Even if I do, we're right on time. 37, 7. So hopefully it's a little bit less. 20 minutes. Certainly doesn't feel like 20 minutes. It feels, at least from my perspective playing this game, that this case goes by faster. This game has some dumb cutscene locations. So like we just had that loading screen cutscene, right? Of us traveling to Kew Gardens. And it loads. Or maybe it doesn't. We'll see. Alright, so it loads. We have this cutscene. We skip through it. We walk 1.5 feet, and then we have another cutscene. I feel like probably they could have just combined that into one cutscene. But they didn't. So we gotta wait through more loading screens than that. We mashed through the conversation with that guy, Martin Hamish, who's one of the keepers at Kew Gardens, which is like a botanic garden in England. I don't know if it's real or not. Chat, you want to look that up for me? Kew Gardens, K-E-W. So we see that the plants are gone. Look at the plants list, and then that guy was like, hey, by the way, my dad died here.
According to
oh,
Albert,
well, we'll look into that a little bit. So, see that there's dirt and a broken pot. And then the fragments, this pot here.
a flower pot recently.
Look at
Someone
the
fell.
that. Footprints. Thin ones, thick ones, 2 C's. Look at this door. It's cracked. new handle, and the ensconce is broken.
The door was
Ensconce? I don't think that's the word. I don't think that's the right word. And then we construct the series of events, and then we watch it on fast forward, so it looks like nothing. It's real. All right, folks. Kew Gardens is real.
Think we need to inspect
I feel like if I was Kew Gardens, I wouldn't let Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment make a game about a murder that happened at my place. We had to wait for the stone chip, which we never use. Actually, we never use anything in this room, but we have to inspect everything in it for the next thing to pop up. We also have to do this. Go through here. It's quicker. Go through the dry tropics section.
These flowers.
And we have to look at the Kew Gardens symbol on the bottom of these pots, because in 1 second you'll see why. There's this fire out here, and it has a pot in it that doesn't have the Kew Gardens symbol. So we're like, hey, what's up with that? So we didn't actually need to do that now, but it's just faster to do that now. And we attach these two things together and say, hey, we should perform the autopsy on that guy. So go to Scotland Yard to do that. So yeah, to get a 145 like I wanted, off of my just like casual, not really caring what happens playthrough, I got a 151.21, so I needed to shave obviously 6 minutes off of that. I'm already down 4, and I messed up a lot on the last level. I forgot a skip completely. So that should save us a good amount of time too. Looks like we're gonna do it. No, we don't. Down here, examine the body.
First of all, let us
His right arm is fine. His left arm is also fine. Take a look at his face. Nose and mouth have a floral aroma, his eyes, and then the scar. Now we do the chest and the internal organs. And this one is actually hard to do faster than the skip, believe it or not. For some reason, some of these organs have like really precise areas of where you can inspect certain things of them. But if you spend enough time doing anything, you'll get good at it. So I have. And there we go.
A suspicion.
You mean that?
No. A few innocuous.
So we decide that he's actually been murdered. It wasn't just a random death.
Into their personal affairs.
And we decide that we're gonna solve the case, even though that's not our job. So we go back to Kew Gardens, and basically we're just like, hey, we're gonna need some access to some rooms that are locked. So the end of this case ends, well, the whole case ends, not just the end ending, with us blaming the Divine Syndicate, which is this like cult group that worships plants, that stole the plants, and we're saying that they killed Albert Dunn. They didn't, but it's faster. Thinking about that, that's really awful, but hey, it's a video game, so who cares? And actually, it turns out pretty well. Turns out that the levels mapped out pretty well for this, because you end at the Divine Syndicate if you get all the things like you're supposed to. So we have to see that this is locked, so that we can ask Martin Hamish about the keys. He tells us that actually the kid has it, so we have to go to the kid. But yeah, so it ends at the Divine Syndicate which is pretty convenient because we blame the Divine Syndicate, so we need to be there. Anyway, dirty collar, unmarried, his wedding ring, and then his other hand is a gardener's hand. I don't know what a gardener's hand is. It's got dirt on it, or plants. I don't know. So you can actually use Toby again in this level, but it's real slow too, so we don't. Say we like there's a community of people speedrunning this. So you gotta look at this guy too. He's consumed by grief. Cut his chin shaving. And he has clean hands. So we have to ask him about Miss White to be able to not talk to him anymore, and ask him for the keys so we can get in. And that's all we need to do. We didn't even meet Miss White in this whole thing. This is a stupid safe. You just go 2 to the left, 2 to the right, 3 to the left, 3 to the right, and then you'd think 4, but 5 to the left, and 5 to the right. There we go. Drag him. What? Get this letter. Get this letter. Ignore the last letter there. Then we travel back to Baker Street to do some research. That's pretty much the end of the level. Dunn was poisoned. We deduced that Dunn was poisoning based only on the clues that he was poisoned and that he was trapped. Seems like you really only needed to know one of those. Whoa, wow, what happened there? Okay, so then we just gotta do some research on our archives. Good thing it's the last possible one. Then we gotta see these symbols over here. Divine Syndicate symbol.
The Divine...
And then the Kew Gardens symbol. Luckily we have a book about London garden supplies. And then we look in the paper for news about the Divine Syndicate. 890-89. Scandal at the Divine Syndicate. And then we go to the Divine Syndicate. So, because the plants were stolen and he was poisoned, we assume that whoever took the plants also poisoned him. I think it turns out to be Martin Hamish, because he was jealous of Dunn, because he like owned Kew Gardens but didn't really like plants or something. And Martin Hamish was like, plants are my life, I should be the director. Seems like a weird reason to kill someone, but the game decided it made sense. So, I guess it makes sense for our purposes. And we see, oh, got the Kew Gardens symbol on your pots here. You definitely stole them. So we talk to this green mystic, who's the leader. Excuse me, guru. He's called both.
Good day.
Inspect him. He has a tattoo. He has calloused fingertips, and he has chemical burns on his other hand, which leads us to believe that he does chemical practice. And then we're basically just like, hey, do you know anyone at Kew Gardens? He's like, nope. Talks like Yoda. And we're like, we found the Kew Gardens symbol on a pot. And then we exit.
Well.
We stand in front of him and decide that, you know what? Oops. Oh, jeez, that was bad. There we go. And then we shelter him. So again, time coming up here pretty soon. See how long this thing takes. Ooh! Ooh! Saved 2 minutes and 41 seconds on that. So we are a full 6 minutes ahead of schedule. 6:40 ahead of schedule. So we just have this last one. It's only 7 minutes. Man, it looks like we could do this under 140, which is pretty hype, because that was my extreme goal. Yeah, I could probably definitively say I'm the best Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishments player in the entire. Oh, here.
Goulash.
Oh, hedgehog goulash. Goulash. That's my favorite line.
Oh, Mr.
They
Holmes.
never let you skip it.
It is fine, Mrs. Hudson.
Holmes, we have to help him.
So basically Wiggins, who's like this little street urchin boy that helps us out a lot when we need to find like some shady information. His brother has just been accused of murder, and he's like, "Will you come investigate and help us clear his name?" Sherlock, of course, says yeah. But the fastest thing to do is just to accuse his brother of killing him. So we actually don't help him. And it would have been faster just to not help, and the same results would have come about. I always feel really bad playing this level and just saying, like, no, your brother definitely killed that guy. The last line of the game actually is Wiggins saying to Sherlock, "Mr. Holmes, how could you?" Feels so bad, but hey, it's quick. So we're talking to this cop for his testimony.
Constable, your statements have been...
Then we examine these bodies here. This guy has a tattoo on his hand, which is actually really significant. This guy has his hand over his wound, and a wound. And look at his face. Oh man, that must have hurt so bad. What a great clue. Getting shot gets hurt. Wow. Getting shot hurts. Wow, I was trying to make a joke of making fun of someone, and wound up looking like a fool. Alright. Look at this piece of wood. It's broken. He has some keys in his pocket. And this guy was also shot in the head. Well, shot. The other guy wasn't shot in the head. Then we talk to this guy here. And he's just wearing his veteran's medal, which is lucky for us. He has a limp as well, and then he's missing a button. A lot of people are missing buttons in this game. We asked for his testimony.
Oh dear, this body.
You have helped us a great deal, Mr. Turner.
And then we talk to this woman, who also gives us testimony. So this is actually one of the longest levels if you play it casually and are trying to get to the right decision. But we make it the shortest. Let me just double check that we have everything we need here. Yeah, okay. And then we go to Scotland Yard. That's actually the last travel portion, I believe, of the game. Oh yeah, I always forget, you can't do anything yet. Let's go, last travel.
Mr. O. Look.
So we say to Lestrade, hey, we want to talk to this guy. He says, fine. Go out of his office. Look at Leighton's revolver. He has 2 shots missing. Doesn't look good for him when there's 2 dead people, each with 1 bullet hole in them. And then talk to him. Got 4 minutes to do this if I want to do it.
Good evening,
40.
Mr. Chapman.
Well, we're gonna
I saw the first
try.
fireworks light up in the sky.
Hate how this guy says half
I
moon.
bumped into a constable on a corner before entering Half Moon. Then suddenly...
Sounds like a American that doesn't know how to do a English accent. So we got the scar. Got the recent beating. His sweater tells us he's an office clerk for some reason. I forget how. And then he's got the same tattoo as the other guy on his hand. And then we mash through everything here.
Something strange happened.
Basically, his defense is, no, this guy shot them and then ran up the wall away from me. I know it's, oh no, I pressed the wrong thing. Oh no. I know it's crazy, but it actually happened. Turns out that's actually what happens to some guy from the circus with climbing gear. But it's a long time
We shall see.
if you want to get to that answer. So an old acquaintance explains why he's lootless, because he shot him because personal. And then comment statement. And Leighton's revolver and the 2 victims. And different shots in Leighton's revolver. His firing position. And Leighton's statement and common statement? No. Leighton's statement and Leighton's revolver. Oh no. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Compelling evidence. That gets us. And then absolve him. Alright, so as long as this doesn't take more than 1 minute and 45 seconds, we got under 40, which is good. That's Wiggins yelling at us. Okay, here we go. That's it. That's the game. So, 1 hour and 38 minutes, 20 seconds, and 20.77 seconds. So, well under 140, which I love. Oh, and here's all the people we hurt by getting the wrong answers. Really depressing. Okay. Yeah, sub 140, which is pretty proud of. Thank you for anybody who watched it. Thank you to my personal hype man, the White Crayon Zero. Great friend, great hype man. D-Rose, you also watched this and commented in chat. Sorry if anybody else did, I just missed you. I was really focused. Yes, you. And you know, I'll be posting more videos on my YouTube channel, and streaming them probably to get the capture. I'll go ahead and I guess I'll tell you as a bonus for getting to the end of this. The next game is Ben-Hur, the crappy movie video game that never cost anything because it was so bad. And there you go. Thank you for watching. Thanks. We're done.